Oh. You should be online. You should say hi to people watching, but I just check if we are really.
Cool.
Uh, yeah. Is it?
Kitty? Do we have a cat now?
Is it? Wasn't that chicken? Live stream health. Okay.
Oh god, that I just done that live.
Okay.
Alright, we good. Alright. Ready, guys?
Ready.
Alright.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello.
Today we're getting into the vault. So before I will ask a question and let the vault person lead the episode. Adam, why did you choose to have Chicken Run in your vault?
I mean, it's possibly the best film ever made. I'm throwing that out here right at the beginning. It's possibly the best film that's ever been made, and it's like how Anouk had the Never-Ending Story and Nosferatu in her childhood. Be it those two films are related, but one of them you would never think is a child's film. I absolutely adored this film. We'll get into the more reasons why, but I've watched this film probably into the 50s to the 50, 60 times, and I'm still not bored of it yet. I still enjoy it every single time. So I figured if there's ever going to be a vault category, then this has to be the first entry for me because it's such a important film to me, really, actually.
Yeah.
So this comes out, if I'm not mistaken, the audio on the 19th. Now, we cleverly decided after recording the first episode 50 that comes out on that day. I think this is episode like 48 or 47.
Which one? This one?
This one, yeah.
No, this one is additional. This one is 51.
51, right.
Yeah.
So, okay, so episode 50, this one, and then another Vault episode come out on the same day on August 19th. In that episode, you hear me discuss I would like to get new shirts, and I am wearing one in this current episode.
Ugh, I hate it.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, why?
It's so I don't know. It's so big and like terrifying almost. Look at it. Well,
Well, the wonderful Patreon subscribers can see my shirt in all its lusciousness, and if you too want to see what Anouk thinks is hideous, I'll post it on the Instagram, but also you can access our live streams on the day of recording and subsequently any other time after they've gone out for $3. That's the Patreon tier. So there you go. There's a little Patreon plug. If you want to join us on our live adventures every other week when we record these, it's there. The Patreon link is always on the website and so forth. So if you feel that way inclined, if you're wanting to jump in and see how we actually record these and get access to episodes really quickly, then that's the way to go about it, and it helps us out. So there's the Patreon plug out of the way. Right, Chicken Run.
Yeah.
yeah. Go on.
Oh, you want me to talk about it? I believe that this is Yann's first introduction to Chicken Run.
It was the first time I saw it, and yeah, indeed.
Anouk, what about you? Is this the first time, or
No way. No way.
when did you first remember seeing it?
I think I wasn't like as soon as it came. I don't think it was as soon as it came out. I think I came to this film quite late, but I was still a kid. So I have watched it many times with my younger sister.
It is a classic.
Yeah, and it kind of has become a family film to me because I watched it with my family, like when I lived with them and with my younger sister, and we'd but I do remember watching it on DVD rather than video.
On video. I had the video. I think I still do own the video of it.
Oh.
So this film came out in the year 2000. It follows Nick Park and Aardman Studios. Well, Aardman Studios and the involvement of Nick Park's multi-award winning Wallace and Gromit series, and also their Creature Comforts series, which won. All three of these won Oscars for animation and short film, I believe, is what Creature Comforts won. I might be wrong on that, but they all won awards.
They introduced stop motion to the masses, maybe, didn't they?
Claymation is probably more. Claymation for sure they introduced. Stop motion had been about for a long time, but never with clay, I don't think.
This was the highest grossing stop motion.
So after the success of Wallace and Gromit, which is in itself a very British film and comedy, because it's so much about it resonates so much with themes that are in Britain, that be it the terrible owner and scientist, and the very quiet sidekick, which is Gromit. Like all the classic comedy duos, the loud and obnoxious one is always stupid, is the silly one, and the quiet one is the smart one. I mean, look at me. My Yann probably knows would say Penn and Teller works for that. I was thinking like Abbott and Costello and Laurel and Hardy, but I suppose you could put Penn and Teller with that as well, in a way.
Yeah, but Penn, I want to say, isn't obnoxious.
No.
No, he's loud.
He's
He's
loud, the
loud,
louder
but
one, yeah.
He's not. It's not like Teller helps him out in certain situations, like Wallace and Gromit. Like Gromit actually helps Wallace out,
Yeah.
and even if he's just a dog, he's like a lot more intelligent than his owner.
Yeah.
Who always gets both of them into really awful situations.
So the Wallace and Gromit series had been out, and DreamWorks approached, or Aardman, they went for a chat, as you do in Hollywood when you win some awards. You get to go into an office and discuss what your film next be, because lots of interest around this new animation studio doing something completely new. And at the time, Steven Spielberg is still in charge of DreamWorks, I believe, in like an active role. I don't know where he is, how he's involved with that now, but I know he's one of the founders. I don't know if he's still majorly involved.
I
with
think
DreamWorks.
he might be still involved.
And the one of the features on the very good Aardman documentary talks about them going for that meeting, and they go, well, we had this idea, and we thought he's either going to love it or he's going to just laugh at us, like it's so stupid. So they go into the office and they go, we kind of want to do The Great Escape, but with chickens. And Steven Spielberg goes, I love The Great Escape, and I love chickens. And from that moment on, the project is greenlit, and off it goes. It's one of the best success stories I've ever heard of a meeting, because, I mean, that is the elevator pitch for that would be impossible. It's like, what's your movie idea? We redo The Great Escape, but we do it with chickens. I'm getting off on this floor, even though you're getting off on like 10 floors later.
So I think as of October 2016, DreamWorks films are marketed and distributed by Universal Pictures.
Oh, they got bought out.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So 2 years ago, they're owned by Universal.
Ah.
Who owns everything?
Probably, yes. Anouk has been doing some deep research into who owns who's in charge of the film market.
The deep dark web of broadcasting conglomerates.
Well, they don't have Disney and Marvel.
No, that's the other two juggernauts.
But there was Fox, which now is Marvel, but there was the three big, because Harry Potter is now also Disney, right? That's Fox, isn't it? That was Fox.
Harry Potter's Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
Right. Yeah.
It's Warner Brothers.
So you've got Warner Brothers, Universal, Sony.
I think, Yann, you're getting confused because of the Harry Potter world. I think is it Universal Studios. They replaced the Jaws ride for Harry Potter world.
No, it was because of the logo. I just didn't remember. Yeah, of course. Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Speaking of Jaws, Yann is wearing some very subtle clothes.
Today, yes, Highlander and Jaws.
Yeah.
Our two favourites.
Yann's favourites.
Always.
So.
And of course we have the fly.
Oh, we do. The Brundy fly. I tell you what, Anouk, there was another shirt that was available. American listeners won't get this reference, but if the people in Britain that are watching this will get this. So it's the same design, which is the square with a face on it, but it had lots of individual Greg Wallaces.
Yes,
who is one of the British hosts of MasterChef, and at the bottom where Fly is on this one, it had the printout of the Greg's baking company, like Greg's.
Oh, God's sake.
So I was either this or that, and I went for this.
I mean, I know it's supposed to be obnoxious and funny and out there. I don't know. It's just a bit intimidating.
I'm just supporting the local, independent illustrators that made this T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm
sure. I'm helping them out.
We talked, I think it's the episode with Adam R. I'm not entirely sure. I'm still have 20 minutes to edit, but we talked about the fact that Jurassic Park, it's an anniversary this year. And I actually went to see, I think it was in June, they had a giant Jeff Goldblum bronze statue in his, like this weird half...
Oh, at Tower Bridge?
Yeah. Half, naked and half seated, half...
his pose that's memed, basically, the meme photo of Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, it was a massive, massive statue of... Like,
there was also one of Colin Firth coming out of the water, which was based on Pride and Prejudice.
Ah, what's that?
When Colin Firth, because he was such a big hit with the ladies.
I bet so.
There's still the the microphone hiding your beautiful face, Anouk. Maybe we should try to do something.
I know, but there's nothing really I can do. Better?
Yeah.
That's much better.
That's way better.
So, in a world now that exists... sorry, I'll do it like Yann does it. In a world... In a world now that exists so many terrible, mediocre, average animated films, this film still stuns me of how it looks. You stick it on, and even though it's made in the year 2000, even though probably made about 98, 99, 98, because stop claymation takes years. Aardman's turnaround when they actually did, well, they still do to an extent, but it's helped with technology a bit. Manually moving the figures and taking the photos and all that, it's involved in the stop motion claymation animation. So that's a quick one to say quickly.
It's an actual term that was coined, claymation. Is it?
Yes, it's claymation. Yeah.
Okay,
stop motion claymation.
That was like, it sounds a bit like cremation. So I was like, okay, that's
I know claymation exists. There's a guy on YouTube I used to watch that did claymation saw things.
Oh, amazing.
Where he reconstructed the traps and made his own ones and stuff like that. It was a cool channel. I don't know if he's still doing it.
Yeah.
So we'll give him a plug on this as well, actually.
This film is 18 years old.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really, really well done. And it also... It's got a lot for the adults as well. There are a lot of hidden jokes. Which is... really nice because it's literally a family film. Like anyone could enjoy it
at multiple ages. Yeah,
and that is such credit to the script writers. Pretty much.
So basically in film, so that the eye can perceive, so you have 24 images per second, so it looks like a film, right? So they actually had to take a huge, like individually all those pictures to take them to actually make a full is that an hour and a half?
It's 90 minutes, yeah.
That's an insane amount of work.
Yeah, when we think that when you shoot on a camera, that a second that captures 24 still images is for 1 second. For animation like this, you have to take 24 individual photos of the one thing and then move it, and then again and again and again.
Well, that's why if you look at the filmography, that's what it's called, filmography of... Like the amount of films that Aardman Productions have done. Actually,
filmography is correct.
Filmography,
yeah, we're right.
Thank you. It's not actually that much for a production company that has done so well and is so heavily loved, and that's because their films take years to make.
Yeah.
Because this is literally every single time plasticine moves, they have to like literally create it, create movement with clay.
Do you remember Morph?
Yes, of course.
Morph was a character on, was it Art Attack?
Art Attack, yeah.
Which was a show, an arts and crafts shows that was around in the early 2000s and the end of the 90s that me and Anouk watched.
I used to love Art Attack. Oh my gosh.
And Morph was a ball of plasticine or clay. And he basically, Aardman did these animations that they would move him around, and it was like little skits, little cartoons of him. And that's one of the first things that we know Aardman for is Art Attack. But their animation throughout the years, even to more modern releases, is consistent to what Chicken Run is, which works in its credit because you can go back and watch Chicken Run and it doesn't feel dated at all.
Yeah.
It could come out this year from Aardman.
Yeah, it's a good looking film.
The lovely thing about the animation as well is you can sometimes see like the fingerprints of somebody on the clay.
Nice.
So it still remains a film. It's not trying to convince you of like this is a real world, like in reality, but it's a real world for them where these are all made out of clay. Like it's consistent to what it is, which I love.
I think we're going not fully, like of course, but British cinema has for the last, I mean, this century has kind of enjoyed realism, and of course there was pantomime, but in cinema it's kind of been what's real and will we believe it, and it was so believable, like I really thought that was happening. And that's kind of the few things that people enjoy about cinema, that you can, but actually escapism doesn't really have to be like, oh yeah, I believe that's real. Like it's quite nice actually that it's, you as an adult you can kind of watch Chicken Run and be like, oh my god, it's incredible that this even exists, this film.
For those who have not seen this film, what are you doing? You've had 18 years to watch this. I know it's a hard sell. If you saw it on a shelf, you're like, what is this? But it's definitely worth watching just for the fact of it's hilarious.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of, say, like sort of like POW escape films or any sort of like escape from prison film, you'll love this in its own right. And then if you're a fan of animation or have kids, again, you'll love this film because its story is so universal. I mean, there's no reason to discuss the plot in essence like in great detail, because if you've seen The Great Escape, it kind of follows the same beats of chickens are in a chicken farm laying eggs and they want to escape to a better world. That's essentially the plot. And there are other things that happen along the way which we might discuss depending on what aspects of the film we're discussing. But I don't want to ruin the whole thing for everybody because I believe that this one you should watch.
The stakes are really high in this film. Like I think sometimes when you go back and watch a children's movie, it's like, as an adult, you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm just watching a children's film. Like I can enjoy it, but actually, there's a lot of suspense in this film that I felt like, and as human beings, we all want freedom to be able to do what we want. So that's like a universal thing to want, so even if they're chickens, you kind of feel for them.
It's a great credit to your writers and your animators to make, and your actors actually as well, to make you feel scared for chickens, because we know the inevitability of a chicken on a chicken farm. They lay eggs, and when they can't lay eggs anymore, they're killed. Like that is the harsh reality that is chicken farming. This isn't a battery farm per se in this film because it's designed as a like sort of old-fashioned World War II prison camp, which I quite like the collage, because obviously you see the chicken huts that look like chicken huts or chicken runs. There you go. There's the title, and the comparisons to like old POW huts that you see in such films like The Great Escape. Like you could interchange the two of them, and you would believe either one is for either one's reasons.
Yeah, I mean, even on a darker level, if you're kind of as a what's it called? Like if you're like a camera going over something, and you're looking down.
Yeah.
They look like concentration camps. Like there's that really dark. They're like sheds. They're small, and there's loads of them. Like it's uniform.
Yeah.
And so there's an immediate feel of incarceration.
Yeah, and lack of hope as well, especially.
But yeah, it's also hilarious.
And there also is in there not that many male characters, but Anouk's favorite actor plays Johnny.
Rocky.
Rocky, sorry, yeah.
Mel Gibson. I'm not a fan of Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson plays Mel Gibson's entrance in this film is by far my favorite entrance of any character I've ever seen, because Mel Gibson arrives flying through the air shouting freedom, which also works in the context of the film because it's what the chickens want, and also is the fact that he played Scottish hero William Wallace, which we've discussed in the previous episode.
Yeah.
So that gratification of seeing this guy come flying over. And also, because this film comes out in 2000, Braveheart wasn't that long ago.
No.
So the reference still works.
And also Mac, the Scottish chicken, also says freedom at one point, doesn't she?
I think so. She says a lot of classic quotes for Scottish people. She goes, aye, that'll work is probably a good one. A lot of Scottish how do you say it? Colloquialisms?
Colloquialism.
That's it, but say it into the mic.
Colloquialisms.
Colloquialism. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Colloquialism.
Yann, did you
Colloquialism.
Did you recognise the voice of Mac at all?
No.
Mac is your favourite talk show's host sister. Craig Ferguson's sister is Mac. Lynn
Ferguson.
Lynn Ferguson
Nice.
is the voice of Mac. For years as a kid, I was like, because she's called Mac, I was like, so is it a bloke? And for years and years, I'm like, because everyone else in every other chicken is female, obviously because they lay eggs, and the fact that there is only two roosters in the film, one in the camp, which makes sense because my grandfather had chickens, and you only have like one rooster
or cock as we call them since Nosferatu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Roosters.
Yeah, by the way, roosters. So it's funny because obviously different depending on the cultures and the sounds. Can you? Yeah, well, it's not. What's the sound that a rooster makes according to you?
Like that.
Okay, now when ours is cocorico.
Cocorico.
My French teacher tried to tell me this at school, and I wasn't having it. She was like, "Dogs don't go woof in France." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "No, a dog doesn't go woof. That's what we think they go. They say they do other things." I'm like, "I'm not having it." So is that actually true? That
No, I mean, it depends because you have to put a name on the thing, but what they actually do is more like it's not a word. It's a thing, a noise that they make. But we actually have to try to find something understandable in a language. Like cock-a-doodle-dee-doo doesn't make it as that's not at all what they're saying. Just like cocorico is like kind of thing.
Yeah, it's intense. It's a really intense noise.
It is a noise, yeah.
It's kind of horrible. But well, yeah, because if you have to normalize it in language, you have to actually put it into a thing, and each language has their own cultural
reference.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So like rough or like woof or meow is completely different in every other language.
Wow, she was right. Proves 13, 14-year-old me wrong.
I mean, woof. Like it is probably more waff in French. I don't know. It's just, they're just barking anyway. So I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a way of saying it, like, you know.
Yeah, and now as I'm a bit obsessed with dogs, I would sometimes also randomly bark. Like you use the word you use for what I've just did.
Yeah.
Like there's the unsure, like.
Yeah.
Or they're
like cats don't actually say M. They don't go meow.
Yeah.
This is a very weird conversation.
We've just become a farming podcast.
Yeah, this is really weird. I don't know how we got here.
Can we enter this episode for the podcast awards about farming and agriculture?
Language corner.
Language
corner. Well, bilingual corner returns, but not for the film purposes. Oh dear.
Well, yeah. I mean, in this film, chickens are obviously very personified,
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
which I think is the
point.
word, or animal
Anthropomorphic.
anthropomorphic.
Yeah, something like this.
Yeah, I think you're right. Anthropomorphicized. Ha!
Yeah, they give them, because if they didn't, like they do in the Star Trek Enterprise, they speak their own language and they have subtitles. We could have had all the chickens that doing their weird noises with subtitles, which would have been annoying.
That would have been an interesting movie.
Yeah.
God,
I
that
mean,
would have
it's for humans, right? You're not making this film for chickens.
It's just like
And I don't think chickens have that level of consciousness at all.
yeah.
No,
Sorry,
probably not.
vegans,
No,
but
it's just
not
like
true.
sometimes those signs on the people who don't understand release. So there was a sign with like no dogs allowed, but what's the point? Because the dog won't be able to read it. So what's the, or like in forest, like no.
That's for the humans,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. That's why. But
Yeah.
there's that joke that but the animals, they don't get it anyway. So
Mm.
yeah.
Dog
Oh,
just sees a
dear.
no-go sign and it just taps its owner and sits down like, nah, I'm not going. I'm not allowed
I'm
through
not
there.
allowed. Woof woof.
Woof.
I'm not allowed to go
Woof,
in.
woof. Oh, dear.
Um,
So, have either of you two seen The Great Escape?
no, I probably should have.
Yeah, that's one we need to add to your list. We'll do an
Is
episode
it-
about that.
Okay, I'm not sure. Is the lead Steve McQueen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I must have seen it once.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was papillon, butterfly, another one with him, which wasn't called like that. Well, anyway, I
I don't know.
I think I've only seen it once.
So you two might not get the first montage, which is them multiple escapes from the farm, well, attempting to escape the farm. I mean, even going under the fences, I think is in the Great Escape. But
Yeah, I read that that's a direct reference to The Great Escape.
the first 5-10 minutes of the film with the montage before they do like the roll call is the direct homage to the Great Escape.
Because in Les Miserables, the version with Gérard Depardieu, the first also 10 minutes is him trying to escape the prison is in.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have that a little bit in the newest version of Les Mis, with Hugh Jackman as prisoner 24601.
Well done.
24601.
Well
Because he
done.
sings it, so it's like in my head.
Yeah.
I need to read that, even though it's like this big.
It's County Monte Cristo big.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
the other one playing Javert, actually doing some recitative instead of singing, which will be the point of the next episode. Recitative, Les Parapluies de Cherbourg.
Yes. That's Russell Crowe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because that to me, that whole sequence of them escaping in the beginning is pretty funny because
Back to Chicken Run,
yeah,
by the way.
let's not throw. Let's remember my vault. Come on,
Exactly. So sorry, Adam.
it's the best film ever made. We're discussing it.
Oh, yeah.
So the whole thing with them like going through the tunnel on the board where she taps it with the spoon is genius because that's exactly what happens in The Great Escape. It's that moment is the biggest moment in The Great Escape. Them going under the fence in the tunnel, which I won't ruin because obviously the film itself is great. But it was just great to see this film in its first 5 minutes A, build up its world, and B, show the humor that we're in for the rest of the film. Like, it's a dark subject, but it's handled in the way, and it's shown with, say, like the chicken. What, for instance, one of the fatter chickens getting stuck under the fence.
Yes.
Which the trope in most things is somebody does get stuck under the fence, but it's not because they're fat. It's like, oh my god, I'm stuck, and the guards are coming.
It's usually their foot or something.
Yeah, there's something. It's like a jumper or something gets caught. Yeah. So I think that's a very nice way to start up a film. Just going, right, this is what you're in for.
Well, yeah, it's always like we see today with A Quiet Place, not Ready Player One, just taking the time without explaining everything thing that is that world. So yeah, it's always better. And when people are able to do it, I still really like Ready Player One, but the first 10 minutes, it's really disappointing. I don't know how how Spielberg could have done it differently. I've not read the book, but next time I'll watch it without. No, you haven't seen it, right?
No,
So,
not yet.
No.
so I was wondering if I should advise you to watch without the first 10 minutes, or with, which is a bit cheeky, because if you don't watch the first 10 minutes, you miss a part of the movie. You can't really talk about it. But
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't. You have to watch a whole film.
Yeah, you either watch the whole thing or you don't. You can't really talk about it if you've not seen the whole thing. I mean, I nearly stopped watching Bird halfway through, which would have been really difficult for that episode, but I stuck with it. But even then, I was like, I kind of don't. I'm not getting what's going on here.
Yeah, but I mean, as we're doing it for people as well.
Yes, of course.
You have to.
Yeah,
it's like a
job.
A job. It's like but it's like a duty to like watch the whole film and hate every minute of it. But also at the end of Bird, we actually ended up liking it. So actually, before you hate something, you probably should watch the whole thing.
Yeah, don't blind hate anything or anyone.
There
Do
are
your
a
research.
there are a few films where I've really wanted to walk out of the cinema, but
Ghostbusters: Answer the Call.
I didn't watch that in the cinema. But yeah, I wanted to leave the living room. No, there was the Emoji Movie.
Oh yeah, we sat through that, didn't we?
Definitely wanted to walk out of that one.
A former aunt of mine walked out of.
Former aunt.
Yeah, there was a divorce. Well, anyway.
Oh right, it was okay.
aunt-in-law.
I get you.
Yeah. What was
She walked out of something.
Yes, she walked out of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, I really like that film.
That sounds good.
The moment it switches, she left.
Oh right.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've always said this. I really think that Tarantino isn't for everyone. I know that he's this incredible director and definitely should be in some sort of Hall of Fame. Like, I think he's a genius, but he isn't for everyone, because you have to watch it with a slight irony, and you know it's really gory, but it's kind of supposed to be. It's kind of his style, and I don't think it's because he really likes blood. I think it's more satirical than that.
And the way he works is fascinating also, because you're not allowed to sleep on his sets, or if you do, you have a picture of you with Big Jerry, his giant purple dildo.
Oh yes.
And you're not allowed to have your phone. And when you're about to be cast, or he brings you in with a whole script and you do a read with him. So it's kind of a fascinating process.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like he really cares about the stuff that he does.
Yeah.
Which really nicely connects to
Aardman. Yeah, because every Aardman film, with maybe the exception of one, is excellent or stellar or extremely good.
Mm-hmm.
The only exception some people find is Flushed Away. But there's a reason for that. Because Flushed Away was made at the same time as there was a massive fire. And Aardman lost their entire studio. Like all of their props, all of their sets, everything that they'd built over the years. Like the Chicken Run models, the Chicken Run sets, all this stuff gone, up in flames. So they had to do it with computers for a change, which changes the feel of the movie. But having said that, in Britain, if you get the phone call from your agent and they go, "There's an Aardman film," you immediately say yes. There is no way you say, "I don't care what I am, I want to be in this," because every film they do is amazing. Like, it lasts so much, and they've got infinite rewatchability.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't know about Aardman until I went to drama school with these guys, and kind of learned about, you know, how a film is made and the backstory and the production side of it. But I've actually, even before that, like Wallace and Gromit, I actually was brought up with. My dad showed me Wallace and Gromit, and I watched that on video. If any of you remember video.
A lovely VHS.
I loved it.
I've still got the VHS, The Grand Adventures. It's all three of them.
Yeah, and you
Blue.
have Sean, what is it? Shaun the Sheep.
Shaun the
The
Sheep.
wrong trousers. A close shave.
What did you say the first one was?
I thought it was Shaun the Sheep, but I might.
No, it's a Grand Day Out.
Grand Day Out.
Wrong trousers and a close shave.
Yeah.
I think I
Okay.
only had
Shaun the Sheep went on to be a CBBC TV show for kids and subsequently had its own movie.
Yeah.
Which
A Grand Day Out. I meant. Sorry.
It's kind of a silent movie.
Yeah.
And I would agree.
Yeah. Lots of little noises. But
Yeah.
basically no speech.
Yeah.
I think I only saw Shaun the Sheep before Chicken Run. I knew well about Wallace and Gromit, but never watched that.
Excellent.
That is definitely something that we should watch because
Yeah.
those three films are like that's in my vault right now. I mean, Le Parapluie, fine, but after that we'll put what Wallace and Gromit needs to be watched by all three of us.
What kind of humor is that in this one?
Well, it's like Chicken Run because it's the same production company.
It's the same.
but
It's the same style of
it's very British
humor.
though.
Yeah.
It's quite dry. It's a little bit weird.
You know the humor in this one with the rats. It's a bit like that.
Okay.
So when they turn up and they're like, "Oh, look at you! This is fresh off the line from Paris, and it's shuttlecock. It's for two functions for brides,
You know, I
for
was
parties."
when I came many years ago, just like when you're in a welcoming family for a few days in another country, I was a fan of Button.
Oh, the TV show, yeah.
It's kind of a weird humor from around here, but yeah, I as long as it's funny, really. Well, it depends obviously of what you define as funny. The the James Gunn situation.
Oh, yeah.
I like the guy, but those were jokes, but I didn't get the humor probably. There was a memo, it wasn't sent, or I don't know. But as long as it's funny, okay, I can go pretty far in jokes, but it has to be funny.
Yeah.
I think as well, like, I think we're very quick. We were saying this before in a past episode that we're very quick to blame media for all of the problems in the world. And it's kind of, it goes hand in hand. Like, the problems that we have, just because someone's joking about it, doesn't mean that they're not doing anything for it. Like, also, some people deal with things through humor. And so, what I especially, like, definitely am that person. And so I don't think, people should be penalized for that because they deal with grief and the horrors of the world differently. Also, if you really want someone to blame governments and the people that actually have a way of helping out these situations rather than someone who's just joking about it. Like, I think this is a really weird time where we're blaming the wrong people.
I think we don't know where to put blame really anymore. I mean, it used to be the case of whatever you read was truth. That was the case for a long time, and even though that's never been true ever in history, because there's been famous people that have lied and so on and forth. But it was a kind of accepted thing that if you saw it on the TV, it was true. I mean, look at Blair Witch. Remember everyone that went nuts when they thought Blair Witch was a real movie?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, that goes back to the first film. Black and white, silent. I don't want to. I couldn't tell you who it was, but you remember the train coming into the platform? People actually ran out of the cinema screaming because they thought that a train was actually coming into the cinema.
No, wasn't that whoever invented the main two that invented the camera, the French two.
It's not Méliès.
It's either.
Sorry, I was taking care of the. I forgot to plug my computer. Yeah, so it was Arrivée d'un train en gare de la Ciotat.
Oh, there you go.
it was the two Lumière brothers.
Yeah.
Lumière brothers. So there it is. Like, I don't know. I think we're very quick to immediately blame a film, and I think quite a lot of actors are getting a lot of stick for playing different either people who are disabled, transgender, and that I understand, because the diversity problem in acting is like really horrible. But like, don't be quick to hate on the actors. Like, there is a massive production company behind these people, and those are the people that, and casting directors, those are the people that kind of should be looked at, rather than the actors who just said yes to a job.
I think it is difficult because obviously you think, and somebody that outside of acting or even like that doesn't know the train how it works will see, say, let's take the Scarlett Johansson thing and go, why did she take this? I mean, if you're surrounded by a bunch of people telling you that this is a great idea, you get swayed. I mean, great people have been swayed by people. That's why they say surround yourself with people you trust.
Yeah.
Because if you're around people that tell you one thing, you start to believe it in a way. You know, that's how cults usually work. You know, you're surrounded by like-minded people that believe you.
Yeah, that's why Tom Cruise is a little bit of a nutter, because he's just surrounded by yes people in Scientology. And so why the hell would he ever get out of that situation?
So I'm just we talked about that in the Whiplash episode, and while editing, in breaks I was taking while editing that, I'm watching the Leah Remini episode with Joe Rogan, and that's quite terrifying. The whole many things, including the spying aspect. Like you're telling on your friends and
it's literally like communism all over again. What's the
McCarthyism
all over again. But anyway,
what I'm saying is that Anouk's right, don't just bandwagon in on the actor or actress that makes a poor decision, because I'm sure you've made anyone in life can tell you they've made weird or decisions they wouldn't normally make because other people have been egging them on or saying it's the right thing to do. So
it doesn't mean
you're a bad person.
No, it doesn't mean that you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to take this away from a person that actually is in that situation or has had that experience. I do agree though that we should probably relook at this. As much as I'm like, yeah, okay, actors are supposed to act in a certain experience, if there are no people of that group of people, then I think we should probably look into that. That was really badly said.
What were you saying?
I was saying that, like, if you don't have a lot of disabled people, black people, Asians, like a whole, like, showing what the world actually looks like.
Diversity.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah,
right?
but I'm also just saying that, like, just because you said yes to a job doesn't mean that you are against that group of people and you're taking it away from them, from someone that could actually understands that experience.
Yeah, and then there's some of those actors. Some are sticking to the casting, and some are in the first few seasons of Game of Thrones, the guy who played was Daenerys' boyfriend.
Jason Momoa.
No, no. Afterwards, not Jason. The guy with the actor.
Yeah,
was,
I know who you are. I know who you're on about.
The actor was a former rapper, was replaced for creative reasons, and he went on to do a new replace Jason Statham in the stuff with the car, the Transporter. So he did the new Transporter. Well, it didn't really work out perfectly. It was the bad guy in the first Deadpool, and recently he was cast as a character in, I don't remember where. It was supposed to be an Asian general, and the backlash made it that he actually stepped down.
Is that the one for the Hellboy thing?
Oh, yes.
Is that what it was? Yeah,
yes.
I remember they were doing a Hellboy reboot, which I don't know what's going on with that. But that guy. Is that the guy you're on about?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Not the lead, because that's
no.
the Stranger Things guy. But yeah. That's exactly.
All right. Okay.
I think it's a really difficult one, because as much as I do feel for the people that had to step down from a job, like, that's it's super sad, but I also do understand why people are angry, because there aren't enough there isn't enough diversity in quite a lot of Hollywood films.
I think if things are going to change, they have to start changing now. It's all well and good saying, like, we're going to start introducing diversity. It's like, right, cool, but when are you actually going to do it?
Yeah, I know. They do it in bits. They do it in bits and pieces as well. Like, one black person is in the group of friends and now we're diverse. It's like, no.
No, that's been, yeah.
There is also sometimes very clear and logical and imperative marketing reasons. The reason why it was Tilda Swinton who was the Ancient One in Doctor Strange is because they are not anything regarding Tibet in China will not sell. So they had to actually
That's very true.
Bring her to be the Ancient One instead of a real Tibetan person if they wanted to.
I think that's what. Sorry. So there's building work. That's something that I think we also forget as actors and also people that want to go on producing plays and films ourselves. There's a lot going on in these films that we don't know. Like it gets political. Like the fact that actually you had a line because you were playing a producer in our Fringe show, Yann. Where you even said like, oh, can we take out the rape scene because our some of our business partners in Saudi Arabia are not going to take kindly to, like, I just, that stuck in my head because I was like, well, yeah, of course they're thinking about, we need to sell this, and the big countries that this will sell in need to be happy with the product. And so I mean, it just gets...
I wonder how that scene would play now, because that scene ends with Yann sleeping with Caroline's character, but because she wants the part.
Oh, that's very true.
That's how that scene ends, and then the next scene she's like pulled the trick on him.
I was a Harvey Weinstein for a
month. You were,
and you got done over. And if you've only seen, and if you have seen Troika, you will get that joke.
Yeah, because there was the enforcer, and on our screen image you can still see the magnificent plaque that was unveiled in the last episode.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
Also the chicken run plate.
Yeah, back to Chicken Run. That was a weird tangent, wasn't it?
I'm not really sure how we got here. I mean, it's always really nice to have to see a production company that really cares about their stuff, and they kind of have to, because it's all plasticine.
Is that how we got to that subject?
I don't know.
Plasticine, is that because in my mind, do you know what Bodyworks is?
No.
So
as in the go on.
Yeah, there is a technique invented by a Dutch professor called plastination. And I think in one of the James Bonds, you can see, it's in Daniel Craig early ones, you can see an exposition of bodies. You can see the muscles. Do you remember seeing that?
In the first Daniel Craig film?
I think that's the first one. There is an exposition that actually exists. I went to see one in Vancouver with the Navy. Well, I went there with the Navy. And it's basically the guy is replacing all the water in, the guy who volunteered before, he's replacing the water with that plasticine thing. And that's what you see.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The scene, it's not in Casino Royale, is it?
It's describe the scene.
I think it's when he goes into that, it looks like a casino, but it's filled with skeletons and basically plastic skeletons and their muscles, just to see how muscles work.
That's not Casino Royale, I don't think. It might be Quantum of Solace.
I think that's Quantum the one where the chiffre is.
So no, that's definitely Casino Royale then.
I think that is. Yeah.
I don't remember this scene, but I'll believe you.
Yeah, it's. I'm explaining it really badly, but
I mean, they are not making it a thing like, oh, there's a thing with bodies. It's just
wait. So it's the thing where they show how the human body works with muscles.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, I know this thing. Yeah.
Okay, so that's why when I hear plasticine, it was like, okay, so is that this? No, that's not the same thing.
No.
Plastination, that's the technique that the guy made. But it's you can see how the body of a fat person is looking from like they cut into slices.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
weird. Yeah, it's some weird stuff.
Really interesting subjects for a kids movie we're talking about today, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, this isn't for kids.
No.
Like, we're not a podcast for kids.
Buy our merch.
We're what? No. Please no.
Now we're a podcast for kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Babe, you got any idea what you're talking about now?
No.
No, it's gone.
I was wondering, should we try from now on? We're at 50 minutes. Should we try from now on to be right around an hour so we can prepare for when we go on stage, and maybe at the Fringe at some
Yes.
point?
I think we slowly need to cut down our podcast because we can talk about this all day.
I think that when we feel there's a natural end to something, we can end it. We don't have to feel the urge to go over an hour. I think anything over 90 minutes is too much, but I do feel up to 90 minutes is fine.
Yeah, except when
we're going, well, Wood and O
when
will definitely be under 50 minutes.
yeah, or
Which is
when
what-
it's on purpose. When we had Adam R and Laura, that the purpose is to actually enjoy
Yeah.
yourself. So
Yeah.
4 hours is fine, but
Yeah.
Like-
And also, when we've got a guest, it's kind of hard to tell them to shut up. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's we're finding out about new people and stuff. So
That's very true.
when it's just us three, I think it's best if because we've had some feedback and we've been told that maybe we go on for too long.
we do. Yeah, and we have a new patron, by the way.
Yes, we do. I
Sophie.
spotted.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Seriously, so helpful. It helps us out so much. If anyone else is thinking about helping us out, either write us a review or give us a rating.
Subscribe.
Or look at our Patreon page, which I'm sure is somewhere on our page. There's like links everywhere. We'll definitely.
Yeah, I mean the central hub, because we took a while now. It's been 3 months that we have a website.
Awesome.
Goodbadstandardpodcast.com, and you've got at the top links to everything and all the episodes posted with the extra links and videos and stuff every
All
time.
the cheeky things we talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
In regards to Chicken Run, I mean, I can quote this film. I probably the whole film. Do you have anything that stands out to you? Moments, quotes?
I don't, but I was about to ask 10 minutes ago if it was kind of the same thing as me for Hamlet for you, that you were able to actually perform it in its entirety if you had to.
Yeah, I probably could, yeah.
Yeah, I actually can contest to that because Adam will literally be mouthing the words while we watch it. It's amazing. In terms of this episode, it's quite a difficult film to talk about because there are quite a lot of things that would probably spoil it. But if you are interested in film and producing a film, like this is a really interesting one because it's really, really nicely done. It's hilarious. It's scary at times. It's sad. There are relationships. There are different types of people, like characters, are really well honed in, and it's all plastic. Like that's such a crazy thought.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It's really, really good.
Yeah, well, there's the voice acting, obviously, but
Voice, yeah, of course.
Well, the thing is, this film was a major success. Like, it was huge.
Yeah, it was.
You know?
And it still is, like, highest grossing stop motion picture, isn't it? Yeah.
And it just goes to show you that you don't have to be on a computer. Because remember, this comes out after Toy Story. I mean, Toy Story changed the world with CGI and computer animation.
Of course.
And this just showed that you could go like, yeah, you can have all the computers you want, but remember, we can still actually make stuff with models.
yeah, and you can actually come and revolutionize kind of stuff every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when you want to do some, I always had the kind of mindset. Okay, I had an idea. I go check if someone already is already done it, and say, oh,
They
yeah.
have.
But
Yeah.
actually, it's well, most of the time. Sometimes it's just had an idea. It wasn't made. It's like my cousin had this idea many years ago.
Just be careful, because if you put it in the public domain, then
No, it
they
exists.
can't do it. Okay,
it-
as long as it exists already, don't ruin your brother, your cousin.
It exists in the UK, only in the UK. take out
driving.
drive-throughs, bakers.
Oh, mate. Stevens the Bakers. Shout out to Stevens the Bakers of Dunfermline and surrounding areas in Dunfermline from Fife.
I'm actually sold because I'm not really a fan of pies, but they make a really good steak bake. Like
whoa! There's no steak.
Bridie.
It's a steak bridie. Get it right. It's not a Greg's.
Sorry.
It's actually listening to you talking about this that I learned it already existed, but my cousin had this idea like 5 years ago or something.
I mean, it doesn't exist for like
amazing.
like an artisan bakery with a drive-through would be quite interesting. Like you should go for that because that doesn't exist yet.
It's quite a fast food thing, though. That's the problem. So I'm not sure how it would work.
Well, it works
with fine dining.
It works with Dunfermline because Stevens the Baker's was and is a great stop for if you're just at lunch. Because I remember at school, I used to walk from high school. I walked there and get my lunch there. You can get soups, stovies, all these kinds of things you can get for lunches, and like filled sandwiches too. So it's like for mainly people that are in their van, like say if you're a plasterer or an electrician, all that, you just drive past, pick up a sandwich or a bridie or a soup, and then off you go. Especially
in this day and age, like everyone's rushing around, especially in big cities, and you have like 10 minutes for lunch, and it's kind of.
I'll also tell you it's a major success, Yann, because they've opened the second one in Dunfermline. There's now one in Crossford, which is near Dunfermline, which is a separate little village.
But it's been done already. But if it's different enough. I mean, there was Facebook, but it didn't prevent the fact that there was Vero and Snapchat and all those ones afterwards that were different enough. I like in TV. I am just out yesterday. I went to see a pilot for a TV show that is not even released in the UK, but that's been ordered, and there are 8 episodes released already. They just shot a pilot with Greg Ferguson. Watched by kids, and so don't and all that stuff that will be cut at the end, and they got to see when you're in the audience, which was quite fun. It was 2 hours of just enjoying ourselves, and it was a show that it was just basically a copy that was localized for US.
Awesome.
And
that's lovely.
But yeah, it's better. I mean, especially you can see that on YouTube. The novelty. There is this thing that appears. That's what tends to get the most views. And then you've got a lot of satellite people that take that same video, upload them on the channels. They also get some views, but not as many. Mm-hmm. Or the weirdest example I've seen is we talked about Brian Deckard, the actor playing Connor in Detroit Become Human. He did most of his live streams while commenting the game on Twitch, and some random people uploaded those on YouTube, and they got millions of views.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, the people that re-uploaded his content?
Yes.
Ugh.
Oh, sorry. I thought that people that he knew.
No, not even. No. It's just like not even plagiarizing, just taking the exact same. Yeah.
I mean, we did something like we did this. We've got the Surge clip, and we've got the Surge. Sorry, we've got the Surge clip, and we've got the what's he called?
Yeah, that's very very old stuff. Bolt Neck, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got some stuff that are not ours to pump up the views, but that was very old stuff, and it was not done that much by anyone. But I mean, and I actually cut anyway. But this was blatantly like the person saw that Brian Decker did not have. He has now a YouTube official one, but it just to make millions of views. I've even see people getting millions of views by uploading very bad quality screeners, bits of Infinity War on their channels, and they got millions of views for.
The thing is that with us, we upload these 2 other clips. Like the Surge thing comes from Yann playing a character that was basically Surge, and the I can't remember why we did the Brian Reynolds one, just because it was mentioned in a piece of advertising. We uploaded like an old footage of it.
Yeah.
But with things like that, I mean, people do that on Twitch all the time. People watch or record, like Ninja, who is a massive Fortnite Twitch streamer, and just upload that because they know people are going to go and look for it. It's just like that's not. It's not cool.
It's okay if you comment heavily on it,
but it's transformative. Yes,
that's the whole point of the fair use. If you just because you want millions of views We are basically what we're trying to have is be able to monetize. So we need views, but not at the expense of taking direct content.
From somebody else. No.
Because our account will be banned at some point anyway. So
yeah, and also, but yeah, because this is our thing. It's just us three. Blah blah blah. Like we're not taking from anyone. I actually really enjoy some reaction. You know when reaction videos are like intelligent. But I remember when I know that some are really stupid, but I remember we were in Brighton and I was watching one on Akala, Fire in the Booth. He did a freestyle, and he is like a historian. Like he knows so much about history and he's like really educated. And he raps talking about the way that the world is, and it's really interesting, and I really enjoyed watching other people react to it. And Adam stopped me and he was like, yeah, do you know how annoying that is, reaction videos? Because and then we had a talk about it and I was like, actually that's so true, I'm going to stop doing this because and I also saw that if you have a reaction video, most of them will have the whole video in the corner, and it's like, but actually you don't really need that, because if you just have the sound in the background like a little bit, but the thing is focused on you, why is that a problem? Because surely if you're watching someone reacting, you already have seen the video that they are reacting off.
Well, that was a big, massive trend when we actually started going out. Reaction videos were about, and it's when they were in their prominence, the end of 2015, start of 2016. The major problem I had with the account, the Akara thing, which we'll upload we'll share the Fire in the Booth video.
It's very I think good. It's amazing.
So the problem is that when Anouk's watching this, I know exactly why Anouk's watching it, and I understand, because it's like when you watch somebody that raps, right, and obviously for me and Anouk, we have no idea how to do that sort of thing. It's always nice to watch somebody who knows their stuff talk about somebody else doing it well.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But the problem is that Anouk watched 3 of these videos, right? And each one of the 3 videos did the exact same thing. They would stop. They would go like, "Oh, this British guy, what's he gonna do?" And then it would start, and they'd be like nodding their heads, and they go, and then they go, "Wow, oh, he's killing it," and that's the whole video.
Yeah,
and that's it. I'm like, that's not a reaction. That's not a discussion. That is just you watching a video and going, "Oh, this is amazing," and not discussing it.
There are 1 or 2 people, and I'm going to find them and I'll put them in the link, because actually I don't know if they have the whole video in, which is annoying, but they actually stop and they talk about what he's just said. Like they have a discussion, and that's the difference. Should be a reaction video.
Yeah. Because there are sometimes they really just a starting point. Like we talked in a Whiplash episode about copying and doing stuff on your own afterwards. Ethan and Ela, H3, they started with reaction videos.
Yeah.
They were doing exclusively that. Now they have their own podcast and they invite people and stuff.
Yeah.
But they talk about it, and sometimes they don't show the whole video.
Yeah, and they produce, like, they actually produce some actual content. Not well now in the
for sure.
Yeah, I think if you're just going, "Oh, I really like this," then why don't you just say that without the video being there? Like that's really strange. But
okay.
You're just streaming games.
I know. Yeah, just stream the thing.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else got any other thoughts about my vault entry?
I think that this also might be in my vault a little bit, because I did watch this as a kid. I watched it growing up, and watching it as an adult, it kind of hasn't changed for me. Neverending Story is a little bit more nostalgia. Chicken Run actually has held up, and I haven't actually seen that many animation films recently. I don't watch that many animation, but there are a few that just stick with you, and Chicken Run definitely is up there. So
yeah, Yann, any thoughts?
Nope.
Well, for me, it's
we're an hour just almost.
Yeah.
So we're great.
So I feel that Chicken Run for me it stayed with me, and it's so important to me. It's just I don't know why. I mean, and it's strange. It's one of these. It was shown to me at the time where that's kind of the end period of where you have it has a stick with you. Because I remember the same sort of time I got shown Godzilla '98, and it was rubbish. But I loved it as a kid, and then you watch it later and you realise, oh, this is terrible. So it was one of these films that I would have loved anyway, But I would have been so disheartened to find out later on that it was actually not very good. And I'm just so happy, and I love the fact that it's excellent. And I wish I could talk about it for longer, but obviously people have got things to do, and we don't have 3 hours to discuss Chicken Run. We're doing it for an hour. So with that in mind, if the
Maybe you
occasion
should write a blog about it.
maybe I
something.
will write a blog piece
Yeah.
about it. So we'll see how I feel. But yeah, I really enjoy Chicken Run. I think everyone should give it a chance. I think it's an excellent film. I think there are parts of the film that we haven't even touched on, like Nick and Fletcher and all the jokes that they have, references such as Star Trek references at the end, all this great stuff that is all there for people to discover, because I don't want to ruin it for them. So
Yeah,
with that in mind, it's staying in the vault.
definitely.
Cool. I might say, without watching it, I never I didn't realize what the poster was about, but now obviously,
Yeah.
that's the end bit. Yeah, it stays in a vault. For you, okay. Yeah, that's great. Did we say we are actually talking about it? No, we're not rating it at all.
No, we don't rate
Yeah,
the
yeah.
vaults. We
It
just say
stays
if
in
they're
a vault,
staying in or
that's
going out.
Also,
Do I get to throw another one in?
Oh yes, that would be actually a good thing too. You put one in, we talk about it, and you throw another one in.
I think that I want to try something different. I think my next vault episode will decide what of 2 films will go in the vault, and I want to do it about 2 transformational sequences in film. So for the next vault entry, we'll be having a fight between David Cronenberg's The Fly and An American Werewolf in London, because they both feature extreme transformations in 2 different styles. Maybe they'll both end up in the vault, but
So what's the first one?
no, we're going to discuss which one should go in. But maybe that's a good idea. I'll put American Werewolf in now, okay? And when we discuss it, I'll watch The Fly again and see if American Werewolf should come out and The Fly should go in, because the reason is to do with affecting transformations. So for now, it's American Werewolf in London.
Okay, I haven't seen it, so that'll be interesting.
I just watched the transformation scene recently. Is that the same actor who is Billy in Gremlins? I think.
I think it is, yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great scene.
Yes.
Excellent.
Impressive scene.
Incredible scene.
Yeah.
I actually have seen this scene, and it's amazing. It's really startling, even if you have it, out of context. Really amazing. So I look forward to talking about that.
All right.
All right.
Okay, so thanks again for listening. You can subscribe everywhere. Apple Podcasts is just either Milk in a Wineglass or The Good, the Bad, and a Just Plain Standard. Again, our central hub, goodbadstandardpodcast.com. We've got everything, links to Patreon. We've got some blog articles, trailers, and we tend to post stuff. We have some nice views these days. For some reason, I'm not sure why.
Excellent.
Thanks for whoever's logging on, and
Yeah.
and a special thank you to you listeners that remain silent but have listened to a majority of the episodes, that come back every week, and how we have a steady. Whenever we upload an episode, there's always a steady stream of people that listen to it. So the
Yeah, that's
special little
true.
thank you to everyone that comes back and stays
Amazing.
quiet, but you're super appreciated.
That's
yeah.
There is, because we have no real way except on Podbean to know how many subscribers we have. But as soon as an episode goes live on Apple Podcast, within 2 hours we have at least 10 downloads. It gradually increases, but right away we have at least 10 people. So thank you
Yeah.
a
That's
lot
really cool.
for all people out there, all patrons always.
Always.
And thank you again.
Yeah.
We were
Adam.
Anouk.
and Yann. Bye bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.